planning board workshop. We have 3 cases before us for the workshop as well as for the planning board meeting that'll happen in 2 weeks. I do want to remind everybody that this is a workshop, so anybody that is here to find out about a project that is happening or an application that is before us, this is a good time to hear from the applicants and also listen to the board for any questions they may have. And that'll be the extent of the interaction that you'll have this evening. I also want to remind everybody that in case of a fire, the fire exits are located outside the door. Do not take the elevator, walk down the stairs. And I
He's on vacation.
think I have everything.
Yes.
Great, then we'll go ahead and get started.
Okay, thank you. The first case on the agenda is case PB 2024-07-01, request by Image 360 Rochester, acting as agent for Episcopal Senior Life for signage approval to install a new post and panel non-illuminated sign on premises 65 Brower Road in an R5 residential district. Deb, come on up.
And just for the record, just state your name and your address for us.
My name is Deb Herb. I'm with Image 360. I live at 810 South Washington Street in East Rochester.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm going to just ask you to go ahead and tell us what you intend on doing and how you're going to get it accomplished.
Sure. So I was hired by the Episcopal Senior Life. That's been
Sit down.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Unless you're in a hurry, I don't know.
No, I'm good. I was tasked by Episcopal Senior Life to fabricate and install a sign for their new Ellen's Place location at 65 Brower Road. So as you can see in your packet, it's a pretty simple aluminum extrusion, double-sided, and it's basically being installed in their main entrance. And I would like approval to do that.
Can you tell us what you mean by the word main, or the phrase main entrance?
It is going to be the main entrance for the residents of Ellen's Place. So it's going to be an
65
identification.
Brower, is that what you're
It is,
trying to identify?
yes.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to open it up to any questions.
I've just been looking at the street view,
Okay,
and there's an existing tree in the right-of-way and a power pole in the right-of-way.
correct.
And you're going to the east or the south of those.
Yep, we're going behind that, and I can kind of show you.
I see where it's at on the drawing. I'm just trying to make
There's a
and
photo of
B.
where we kind of put the public notice sign that's closest to where the actual sign will go. And I do have extras if you need that.
And we won't be impacting that existing tree.
No,
Could we be
none of
behind
the
it?
trees will be impacted.
Anybody else have a question? Dan, John?
Just-
No?
We're only 6 feet from the property line, that's okay? I was gonna say, aren't we usually 15?
Correct. Code is 15, but she has made application to the zoning board. And that'll be on the August 5th zoning board agenda. I've been working with her on that. She's here because when this was originally back reapproved, it was the stipulation that all signage had to come back.
And if we do move forward with this in 2 weeks, it'll be contingent on her getting the ZBA to address her application. and
The setback
positive.
variance.
Just want to make sure everybody's speaking into their microphones. If you need to move them over to be in front of you, that's totally fine.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Anybody else have any other questions? I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'll see you in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
All right.
2 weeks.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. The next application, I just got word that they were not not available to attend the workshop. This is case number PB 2024-07-02. This is request by Sunoco for signage approvals to update existing building signage, freestanding signage, canopy, and dispenser signage on premises 2075 East Ridge Road in a C Business District. I just wanted to reiterate, they are not, they're just removing and replacing in the existing footprints on everything. And I did clarify that with, her name is Paige, that I've been working with for quite some time to get this moved forward before you guys.
I don't know about anybody else, but I was a little confused reading through his narrative on what he wants to do. Or the applicant, I should say. I shouldn't characterize it one way or another.
Maybe if we took it one by one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the only thing, the current canopy is not illuminated at all,
right,
and he's trying to add illumination to that.
okay. That would not be I would actually,
Something we've never,
I wouldn't, if it were up to me, I wouldn't do it. Does anybody else have any concerns?
I know it's something we've went away from
Yeah.
on the last couple, so.
I mean, we've actually gotten away from branding on those things altogether. And I wouldn't mind if he got away from the branding on this, even if it be just,
I mean, at least I think it's simpler than what's there now.
It
You know,
is.
what's there now is rainbow, like there's just lots of colors and, you know, this is blue. So I think it cleans it up a little bit in that aspect.
Yeah. Pole sign like for like,
yeah.
so that's an easy one. The canopy currently has no illumination, and going to two sides with illumination would be a big change. I like the color scheme actually, because it does clean it up a lot, and the racetrack that's on it now. And this is a 24/7 store, so they would never be off
Right.
either.
No, and it does, I mean, it's cleaner. The whole thing is a lot cleaner
It is.
than it was.
Correct.
I don't know where anybody else feels about the branding on the canopy.
Which side? Left.
Oh, this is the canopy.
Palmer and Ridge.
We started to get away from that with new
Yeah.
signage. This is, as far as I'm concerned, a new sign.
It would be. I have a feeling if we kick back all that, he's just going to leave it as is. And this is a cleaner version if we get rid of the illumination.
Well, maybe we can negotiate something with him. Go ahead, John.
Maybe just, get this closer so she can hear. Maybe just the color scheme, like on, let me just get to the right sheet here. Just bear with me for a second. Just got a sheet number here. Well, for the sheet where they're showing the canopy signs, maybe they do away with the yellow painting and even that lighter blue around the Sunoco logo. Just keep it dark blue with the Sunoco logo and then just the lettering, scaling it back a little bit. So, that could be an option.
Yeah, I also would like him to clean up his canopy directions on here. Front, side, doesn't make any sense to me.
The bottom right corner, he's got them labeled per. The bottom right corner of your packet right there. Yeah, right there, right where you're at. Right where your hand is.
Here.
Oh, the other
They're numbered
way.
1, 2, 3, 4 there.
Okay. It'd be easier to have a key written right on there as opposed to having a key.
So John, you said instead of having that, like that yellow arrow, woodmark arrow left justified, just keep it all blue?
Yeah, I would say, yeah, because going through the packet more, it looks like that's its own separate sign. So I would say just maybe lose the yellow arrow, maybe keep the Sunoco sign, like the font, and then where it has the Sunoco logo, you have that like lighter blue shade, along as a background, and then stuff along the base. Maybe you just make that all just that darker blue, so it's just the Sunoco logo and the lettering.
Yeah.
So, it dials it back a little bit, but keeps it in line with what we've done for previous ones.
Take this.
Yeah, so this yellow line goes away, so it's just this, and then this lighter
And
blue,
he only wants that on one side anyway.
It
so.
is, yeah.
lighter blue there, so it's
The illumination is a no-go.
It's a no for me.
So he probably should think of how his
A different
client
design of
wants
some
to
sort, yeah.
deal with that.
The gas pumps he's actually cleaning up
Yeah.
with doing it the way, so that's, like the pole sign, the gas pumps.
So so I have used the branding with the light blue Sunoco with no yellow arrow. You think that's good?
Yep.
Keep the canopy signage all dark blue with no yellow arrow. Pole sign will be like for like, comment to not illuminate the canopy.
Correct. And then the store canopy actually cleans up a lot nicer too.
Yeah, they got rid of that
With the
halo or
rays,
whatever that
yeah.
thing was. Maybe they can bring back the balloon. Anybody else have anything on this case? We'll be able to talk to the sign guy in 2 weeks, and that'll probably be helpful to us.
And I will reiterate what the board recommended to them.
Great, we're gonna go on to the final case here. Go ahead and call it.
Okay, next is case number PB 2024-05-04. Request by McMahon LaRue Associates acting as agent for 43 North Real Estate for subdivision and preliminary final site plan approval to subdivide one existing 6.368 acre parcel into 2 lots regarding the proposed redevelopment of an existing building into 22 apartments and 6,000 square feet of commercial space on premises 4530 St. Paul Boulevard, otherwise known as 41 Colebrook Drive, in an R1 residential district.
And I would like to propose to the board, if it's okay, that we skip the subdivision portion of this for this evening unless somebody has any pressing questions. I know that we've discussed this quite a bit, and just go right to the design. And if somebody wants to do the subdivision, just tell me. Great.
So, board, within your packets, I included the conditions and findings from the last meeting when it got tabled. I don't know if you want to start there or,
What I think would be really helpful, for me at least, because we've gone through quite a few drawings on this and different iterations, and this has been going on for a while, is if you would take the packet of the site plan that we're most familiar with, but the newest version, and just walk us through what you want to do with that, and then go ahead and the January 3rd, 2024, of that.
Yep, January 2024.
well, it's received by the town,
I'm
July 3rd, 2024 is when the
Yeah.
town,
But it's dated, sorry, I was just looking at that.
yeah, well, it's dated, but I want to say received by, because I believe that goes back, the January 2024 date goes back from way back.
If you could just walk us through
Sure.
each one of these, and then we can go from there. And I do want to, unless there's a problem, I want them to cover these next after that.
Yeah, so for this, we updated the site plans. We updated material information on the addition for you guys, just to talk about the package. We have a sightline study. We did a lighting plan, and then we also did a document from our mechanical engineer. And this isn't in the site plan, I'm just referring to the package that we put together for the air conditioners and noise. But on the site plan, we have our existing structure, and we did label all trees on the site. So we put those on the site plan, was a big part of this, to do that, to understand what would and wouldn't be there. We added which ones would be removed. So that was a piece of that on the first, which is the existing. On the secondary plan, we revised the subdivision a little bit more here and just talked about the secondary lot, the lot number 2, shifted the property line just in case there was any setback issues with the breezeway. Kept our parking counts that were very consistent with the last time. So no major changes on this from the prior version on page 2 of 6. Page 3 of 6, we added a lot of details on landscaping. So we did a bit more on which trees were existing, which trees would remain, the hardscape area that we proposed for tenant use, the 2 means of egress. We did add some trees in that as well, and I think that that's a little bit more on page 4. So page 4 has the additions of landscaping that we would have. We called out the hardscape. We did take a look at the lighting plan while that we were there, and we're going to be repurposing all of the existing lighting. We do have a lighting package that we delivered to you guys tonight. And the new lights would just be the lights on the rear of the building to illuminate our parking area.
I'm just going to interrupt you here.
Yeah.
On the lighting plan, it'll show us photometrics.
Well, it'll show you, it shows photometrics of all the new lighting. So we're keeping all of the existing lighting.
But this is a site plan review, so let's put the old lighting in also.
Okay.
Because if there's something that we're not going to agree with, we're going to know then.
Yeah, so we have the photometrics only for new lighting, which is our understanding of the requirement. So we can, I think I did mention that to Chris about it, and he said that takes about 2 or 3 weeks to be able to prepare that. But is that about accurate?
That's true.
But we were planning on repurposing all the existing lighting, so maybe the bulbs.
With making a photometric plan, typically in order to put it into the computer and make a map showing the lumens.
Yeah,
that
we
are
get
on
them all
the
the time
surface.
here.
Well, you get them with new light fixtures. So with antique light fixtures or light fixtures that were made in the 50s, that light fixture itself with like the lumens and where like the housing of the light bulb shades of how high the light bulb is up in the socket, that doesn't exist. So you'd have to make custom models for each light fixture in order to do a photometric mapping of some of the old antique light fixtures. So some of the light fixtures, there's a range of light fixtures. Some of them are from 1950s or 60s, older ones, original. I think one of them by the front entrance is a chandelier type underneath the overhang. So with those light fixtures, those would be the hardest ones to what we can do is we can figure out what kind of light bulb is in there, or what it can be replaced as. So typically, for a building structure like this, any lights that's a general illumination for night times, someone coming home at night in the middle of the night. We want the lights to be comply with international dark sky policy, so that way there's no light pollution that feeds the property line.
I saw those.
We also don't want to produce glare, so any neighbor that might be, higher up, when they're looking at the building, they don't want to see glare from a light. So we want to have shrouding and covering of the light bulbs itself. Going to like a warmer color light is also important. Going to a warmer color light is also important for just the color rendition at night. A lot of times the white, brighter lights like we've all seen on the highway, the cars that have the bright lights that kind of blind you when they're coming at you. We want
Okay,
to
I'm
avoid
going to
that
give
kind
you,
of light fixture.
yeah, I'm going to give you the, and I don't mean to cut you short. I understand what you're saying to me. Can you get us a list then of like all the temps on those bulbs as you're going to be replacing them?
Yeah, I mean,
Because
we just have
we
to turn them on
typically do
and take a
not
look at it.
let anybody go above 4,000.
Right, yeah, we want to avoid that.
All right.
And, the ones that are on the back of the building right now that are proposed to be replaced, those are large, like Musco downlights for parking lot. They're meant to be on like a 50-foot or 35-foot parking lot pole. And those light fixtures, the housing was mounted sideways, like a wall mount on the building. So they're shining out into the parking lot, a kind of broad spectrum and shining up and everywhere. So those are the ones that we're proposing to replace because they're just offering horrible lighting for the site.
Well, I mean, that is preferable If we can just get the photometrics on that, that shouldn't be really hard for you to
Right.
do. Is anybody else wanting the photometrics on the existing? As much as I would like it, I don't want to hold them up 3 weeks.
I mean, I understand the lighting and, you know, trying to create the photometrics from something that's old. Could you take a light meter and give us like a grid of, you know, what the light level is? I mean, I don't need it, you know, in the
And
contours,
is your concern, are you looking to see whether it complies with code, or are you looking to see if it's too much and going to annoy
either
the
too
neighbors?
much or if there's dark spots in a parking lot where we're gonna
Right.
have residents now. You know, I think that would be, you know, if you
Yeah,
can, if you
and-
could show us what the light level is in that parking lot now.
And there's a couple different lights. There's the decorative lights, like the chandelier and the wall sconces.
Yep.
Those
Yep.
typically have very low lumen outputs. Then you have some area lights that are on the building, which are the pole mounted with a down light shade, and it has a reflective glass baffle around the light bulb. Those ones are basically for general illumination of sidewalks to kind of get in and out of the building. And then you have the parking lot lights, which is the third component. So the parking lot lights will be new, we can get the photometrics for that. The side general area lights, there's 3 of those in the building. Those are newer lights, so I think that we could probably get photometrics on something very similar and maybe just replace the bulbs, so that way we know we're giving you a photometric mapping with the bulb that would be replaced in there. And then for the antique, like wall sconce and stuff, again, they're typically low light, low lumen, warm color tone. So, those ones are not meant to, offer great light. They're meant to offer a marker system for where the entrances are.
Yeah, no, I agree with Dan, if you can get us as close as possible, but spell out what is brand new for us
Yeah,
On the plan.
on the plan.
I think in 2 weeks, we can actually have a spec to a cut sheet of the light fixture, so you can actually see the housing. And
Yeah, I think we've seen a lot of the lighting you guys submitted, the existing stuff. All right.
And there's also 2 or 3 light fixtures that are proposed to be removed. They're just kind of broken down light fixtures. Again, they're meant to be pole lights. They're shining sideways, like into the courtyard towards the church is one of them. Another one is over the mechanical, bump out. So those ones are just kind of broken down lights on the side of the building that need to be removed, just to clean it
Are
up.
they inside or outside the
They're
building?
outside.
Okay. If you could just come up with the list of the ones you're going to be replacing, and I would assume it's going to be like or similar,
Yep.
that would be helpful. I don't want us to get stuck on lighting, but I had a few questions when I went through the plan earlier at home.
Joel, were they given the map that had the list of each light fixture?
We provided it today, so let's see on this.
But on one of the
This
lists,
is cut
it
sheets.
states there which ones are proposed to be
There's,
replaced.
let's see. No, I think that these were all the,
But this one right here is the one that, so there's 3 entrances that have wall sconces on either side of double doors. Or no, there's 3 entrances with double doors. 2 of the entrances have wall sconces that look like this. One of the entrances does not have any sconces or any sort of light. And by code, you need to have a light fixture outside of each entrance. So we are proposing to basically use this light fixture, which matches the other ones, to go on that one, on the one double door set that currently does not have lighting. And then
So we've got the cut sheet, just why don't you mark it on the
Yep.
plan where everything is going to be and what type it's going to be, and then we'll all be on the same page.
is that an exhibit to the site plan? You want it on the site plan as another exhibit? Or?
Yeah, it should be spelled out. It's not spelled out even on the plan that you've handed us.
Yeah, we only have the replacement lights in the back on there as new, so, okay.
But that way, the guy that's going to check this, as you guys are progressing with work, isn't guessing what is what. It'll all be spelled out.
There's usually like a legend
That would say
that
you're
would
using,
depict which light is going where.
if this AC3 or whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
I don't
Yeah, I
care.
think it's on, I think that we were under the impression that we only had to have new lights, but I understand that.
No, you were here for St. Cecilia's parking lot, so,
No, I don't know if I was here for that.
So
Yeah.
we have a legend that shows which
So
lights, shows all the different light types, and then which ones will, there's the two wall sconces on the entrance that is currently do not have lights, and the two parking lot lights that are the
Exterior,
pole
oh,
lights
here it
that are
is.
sideways.
yeah, this doesn't
So-
exist on our site plan though, right? This-
Right,
Yeah, so
no,
we'll-
it's-
version of this?
Finalize that and transfer that onto the site plan.
All right. Okay,
Okay.
sorry.
Do you want this back?
No, you can have it.
Okay.
You want to keep on going? Sorry.
No, no worries. So that had the landscaping and lighting, which we're going to add the detail to. And then the next is kind of construction details around pavement or our water service, it looks like, existing sewer details. So that's where we end up on 5, some construction details. We did add the fence up front on one of the details too for the driveway screening. So I know that that was new. And then I did bring a picture because I was talking, I know you wanted to see a little bit of additional landscaping. Now, this was an earlier rendering, but just to give you a little bit of idea of some of the exterior and some plantings that were not more ground level plantings. So we'll do some garden type areas that aren't on the site plan, but I was told, shrubs and trees are what goes on there versus, annuals and, things like that. So those type of plantings, but we definitely plan to do some garden areas towards the front of the building, something similar to what you're seeing in this photograph.
And then you'll include the plants and the number, and the quantities on the legend for the landscaping for us?
I was told that we didn't need, that wasn't a requirement to do those type of plantings from our engineering, our team, but
So your
I
team
don't-
told you? Did
Well, I
anybody
was told
from
for,
town
like-
tell you?
no, but
Okay.
ground level plantings and stuff, I was told. If, I definitely know that we're not going to be able to have that by next week, so if that's something, then I can just exclude that from the plan. And propose not to do it.
Had to do what?
Well, not to do any plantings outside of what's on the plan. 'Cause we're
Okay,
not
all
going
I'm
to be able to add
asking for
anything.
is a legend in here that tells me that you're gonna put in 3 peach trees, you're gonna put in
Oh.
4 apple trees, you're gonna put in
Is that not
93
there?
maples.
Okay, so a legend on this for the shrubs and hard trees that we're planting. Okay,
Yeah,
You need to know the caliber diameter of the trees that are being
that
planted.
would probably be helpful if you guys know what you're doing already.
but for flowers as well?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay, that's what I was referring to.
But something is gonna be permanent, yeah. Your annuals, I'm not super concerned about.
And for the most part, the site is, it was landscaped many decades ago, which is why there's mature trees that are on the site. Out of the, in order to widen the driveway to make it be more functional for two-way traffic, there are 2 trees that are, proposed to be removed. And when those trees are removed, it's going to offer more daylight and sunlight to that east side of the building, which then is what will kind of promote, having flower gardens there and the new trees and stuff that are proposed, because it will have a kind of a fresh, fresh daylight and sky exposure, where right now there's a lot of coverage.
Got it. I think we're on 5 of 6, or we don't even need to do 5 of 6 at this moment, that's your spec sheet.
And then we did add some detail on 6 of 6 of some of the proposed trees, so not a legend on the site plan with the quantity, but we did identify them, the new plantings on the site plan, as well as the trees that we intend to remove. And we also put the existing trees on the site plan.
Yep.
So you should have a complete permanent planting schedule on there. And then we did identify the trees that we would be planting here on this last page. But
You've identified the trees, but not the quantity, right?
Other than the quantity that we put on the site plan is new, but we can do a table on the landscape side to make that a little bit. So it's while you're looking at the page to make it make more sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So you want to talk to us about the air conditioning? Or why don't we just, unless somebody has any questions about that, why don't we cover the list that Michelle gave us? Does that make sense? We can do it at any order you would like. Do you have a copy of this?
I don't in front of me. Thank you. More details.
I believe
Oh,
that-
are you guys going to go through them, or do you want me to?
Well, I can help. Add more details on the black aluminum fencing proposed. I believe that was on page 6 of 6.
Yep.
Was details on the fencing. Indicate decibel ratings on HVAC.
Do we have the length of the
Which-
fence on here? Just real quick,
No, there's not a specific, it's shown on the plan, but if you wanna.
yeah, definitely. I mean, this should be as specific as we possibly can get on this, so there's no guessing. I mean, if you're not doing it that way, then I'm going to put a condition on it that says it has to be a 75-foot length fence, or, right?
We'll just leave them.
Yep.
Not a problem. One thing I'm seeing regarding that fence, when you've got that courtyard area in between the two buildings, it looks like we're taking the breezeway out now.
Well,
So if we have the fence on the Colebrook side, you're gonna want to enclose that and have a fence on the other side.
it's just a potential removal of the breezeway to the extent it creates a legal challenge for side setback. So it depends on what what happens with that. So, or what variances are required or granted. So we can remove the breezeway if necessary to obtain the side setback and reduce the number of variances, if needed.
I think it's not the intent to remove it.
Yeah, it's not our intent, but we wanted to show that we did have sufficient side setback on that part of the building, and we don't, there is can be a door on the interior of that anyway that was originally there before the breezeway was. That's why we kept it dotted on the actual plan too. It's kind of if necessary. It's a nice structure, so I'd hate to do that. It's kind of cool. It kind of has that nice blend between this 1920s and 1940 addition building to, more your late 60s church. So I hate to tear anything down.
Yes.
So we put something together on the HVAC as well. We created a packet and identified the units that we were going to be using, as well as some decibel levels associated with that, and then a statement from our engineer regarding noise. So that was handed to you guys today.
So that was emailed as well, and it was a quite large document.
Oh, is that what you printed out? Oh, so you must have we consolidated it for you.
Okay.
And highlighted the areas with the sound. And then
Okay.
also created a statement from our engineer that talks about running time or potential consolidated running time, because they are VRF, so variable drives. But they are fairly quiet. So let's see. The noise level at 100% capacity is compared to a household refrigerator for
I haven't been
one
to
single
my
unit.
house.
Yeah.
The thing that is marked AC, I'm looking at 4 of 6 around the building. What is that?
Those are existing. So I don't believe that the entire building was ever air conditioned, but I think at one point in time they air conditioned the church. And I think that those were pads for the church, and then when it was a play area or a gymnasium, perhaps it was a requirement to air condition that space. So it's radiant heat throughout the building in its existing state, but down below they have some exposed ductwork that's pushing in just air conditioning. So there's some cooling and an air handler associated with those units, but those will be removed because all of our air conditioning will be done with heat pumps and
Okay, so they should probably be removed off of the final site plan. You can keep it on the existing conditions, but if you're removing it, I would probably remove it.
not repurposing those, do you think, for? No, but we're not repurposing. We wouldn't use those pads to place a condenser for our new system.
No.
Yeah, okay, everything's on the roof.
And everything will be mounted on the roof of the building, not anything near on the ground or next to the unit on the second floor or whatever.
Yes.
You know,
Okay,
all the new equipment is about half the weight of these.
yeah.
Really easy to spread them out and distribute the weight across a large area of roof.
For the seating area, we did add some detail on that on the site plan, and it just shows a small hardscaped area with table and chairs, so it would be just some basic market, you know, something that we could buy, furniture type pieces for outside.
There is what he's talking about.
Just a small area. And then on the exterior, if we're talking about the railings, we did do on the back of our submission, we have an aluminum metal frame railing. And we also be topping that with kind of a 1x AZAC piece that we're calling it a drink rail, but it's just to make it a slightly more decorative. So it'd be metal with steel or aluminum, and then a decorative rail on top of that.
And you'll put that on the site plan, right, so it's called out?
The rooftop deck railing?
Yeah.
Okay, if we need to.
Probably it's on your building plans, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why you put a railing
Put it on the site, on the site plan,
It'll be on the elevations.
Okay, on the
It would be
elevator, all
on the
right.
elevations.
on the architectural plans
Right.
is the more appropriate place to
Yeah.
detail out.
And the railing too does not need to be 42 inches tall because it does not have a fall hazard, because the deck is completely enclosed within, you know, it's more than 10 feet away from the parapet walls. So it only needs to be a 36-inch height rail, and then doesn't need the 4-inch, you know, slots. It can be an open railing basically. So
Okay.
It's going to have very minimal visual impact if you could even see it.
And what kind of lighting is gonna go up there?
The only lighting would be just for the door to the egress stair. So that's the only proposed lighting, is to have the code compliant, low lumen door that's for the market egress stair.
So you're not gonna put any lights up there?
There might be some, I would assume maybe some, you know, decorative little like LED plug-in lights or even LED strips or something, but, you know, change color, this is an accent, but there's no general illumination for the deck.
Okay, so as long as I can ask you that question, you'll confirm that there'll be nothing permanent up there, we're all good?
Yeah,
Okay.
I have a note of that, so we'll discuss, and if it is, it'll be on our lighting plan.
Okay,
We probably should have something up there. I'd imagine people wouldn't mind being up there at sunset, so, but
that was
we'll
my
talk
thought.
about it.
I mean,
Yeah, I agree with that thought.
come dark, it's done, right? So bring up a flashlight or, yeah.
Do we have any EFS samples?
No.
Okay.
Samples of building materials?
So we did depict on here what they would be. We had to go back and forth quite a bit because we're dealing with historic compliance requirements, and
Right.
to turn this around in time and get it to July 3rd, we had, our architects and engineers worked really diligently to get this to the point it was, but we had our historic architect actually be Chris Brandt reviewing this probably half hour to 45 minutes before. So, and we brought the material samples that we thought would be historically compliant, but found out that they may not be. So right now, we're going to be able to commit to a smooth textured EFS across the entire building. So more EFS material, and it probably will be a color that ties into the existing brick. So I know the brick is multicolor, but it'll be right somewhere in that palette. So we did put that on the plan, and then we will be able to bring material samples by the meeting time. and refine this drawing so you're not seeing red notes on it.
Great.
Is there a fence in here too?
Snow storage, I see it's been taken off.
Out near Cold Brook, we removed it.
Yeah.
Okay.
We added a few other spots, but
Got that. We need decking
Yeah.
materials.
The Colebrook was the problem, so. Former lift.
Former lift.
It looks like they updated that.
Yep.
Oh, storage, I like it.
Existing landscaping plan and proposed landscaping plan. I think we just talked about it, so
Some additions with the tree
a little
count
bit to
and
do.
a little bit
I
more.
just have a question on this. The stuff that you guys are proposing, has that been checked through with the Conservation Board?
No, it wouldn't, because it's not in an E-Pod.
Okay.
That's the only time that the Conservation Board would comment on a site plan, is if it was in a proposed environmentally protected overlay district.
I guess the plantings
But-
came off of our list, though. right?
We have a landscape guidelines list.
Yes.
And that, I believe they got that.
I just want to double check.
I'll double check it when I prepare the table.
Cool.
I'll make a note to email it as well. If I didn't.
And we talked about the lighting plan, and you're going to do a little bit more on that for us.
Yeah, and we'll put the lighting
Yeah.
on the site plan with an
Yep.
attempt to show some type
Yeah,
of
I mean,
metrics and
I mean, it
lumens.
seems that you tried to start to do something on here, but, where is it at? Right here, these wall packs. I mean, it looks like you started to do something, but it doesn't tell me what.
Yeah, what we were trying to do is just show
But
that
I-
those would be completely replaced versus an existing.
Yeah, those are foot candles.
Yeah, I know
But
what they
I'll
are, it's
put
just
a-
not
yeah, put a-
labeled, yeah.
Well, yeah, they're small, you can't read.
Okay,
I'll put a table over on the side for it, but they are foot candle contours. The furthest out one, I believe, is 25.
And just to clarify, so the property line, the lighting that's on this building that we're talking about, for the parking lot, is not going to be strong enough to light the entire parking lot of the adjacent buildings. It's only for the parking associated with this building.
well, that's all you would be allowed to touch anyway, legally.
Right, yes, so like the photometric map will end at the proposed property
Yeah.
line.
Great.
That's what I want to see.
I think we can skip number 10 unless you've got a sign that you're talking to us about tonight, and I didn't see anything.
Seeker will help with seeker. Required lot dimensions be depicted?
They are depicted on the subdivision plan. All the bearings and distances are labeled. I didn't show them on the site plan only because it takes away from other items and
Yeah.
it overrides, and I think there's better clarity.
And it's going to be two separate transactions when we go
Right.
through with it. My guess is we'll do seeker, then we will do the subdivision, and then we will do the site plan.
So I will bring the subdivision plot to our development review committee tomorrow, where we can, review with, rest of staff for the lot coverage setbacks and parking. I think that the only variance would be that the zero setback where the buildings are still connected, that I can come up with off the top of my head.
That was all that we could come up with. If that's not covered in some other way, it
Right.
would either require a variance, which we can accommodate, or it would require the demolition, and we can also accommodate that, and still maintain 15 feet off the property line from the church and from the school. So
Okay,
it's a matter of which way
you guys want to
the
go?
town, well, which way the town, if, I mean, the easiest way would be go for the variance. If the variance were to be denied, then we have the option to demolish the breezeway.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Did I include the Monroe County comments for everybody?
I don't recall seeing them.
We were provided a copy at one point.
I gave Catherine a copy of them at the last meeting, but we did receive them. I mean, the
They were-
quick summary was, it had to do with, the things you needed to consider for, housing for the elderly. If there were elderly involved in this housing, things you needed to consider.
Right.
This helpful hint type stuff. Nothing other than that, from an engineering standpoint.
I know that we've got on here having all the agreements in place.
Yeah, so I think that would be a final condition. We have them in a, like, form, but they basically said, the diocese who's subdividing this, and selling us the property, that they said, well, when you get your approvals, then we will spend the legal dollars required to review what you propose to us. But we prepared them, they're sitting with the diocese, they're willing to accept them as soon as we get our approval. So I think that would still be a condition of the subdivision, even post-approval. But they've all been discussed with their attorneys, but just not kind of formally drafted and reviewed by them.
Got it. We're still working on, number 16 is still open a little bit because you're gonna be adding stuff and subtracting stuff, I think.
Signature block was added,
Yeah.
and the public hearing was left open.
There we go.
There we go.
Who has questions?
It's not really site plan, but I don't remember what you said. Is there gonna be management on site?
There's going to be somebody there daily from a maintenance perspective, whether or not so yes, there will be an employee of the management of our company. It'll be kind of a maintenance and repair person, but probably 6 hours a day. And then in terms of like leasing, when we do our initial lease up, there'll be somebody there throughout the extent of it, and then just more periodic.
Someone there to maybe enforce, like, any apartment that I've ever lived in, people start getting lazy and they want to park along the road in front. Someone there that might be able to kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I'd imagine, at all of our properties, we're there fairly regularly. A lot of times we actually have tenants that receive some type of rent discount to act as the manager and live there, and those are actually our best people. But the way that we run our communities are a lot of communication between us and the tenants. A lot of, tenants will say, Joel, somebody's parked here, somebody's parked there, and then, we're able to quickly enforce that.
Okay.
So I feel comfortable, number one, a maintenance person being there very regularly, 4 to 6 hours a day. Number two, a leasing person being there very periodically. And then also through our online maintenance system, like our electronic maintenance requests or tenant communication, which means they text me, we'll be able to police that fairly well.
Anybody else? I've been doing my questions as we're going along here.
No, that's
I know
efficient.
that From my recollection in my notes, I know that parking was a big issue for the neighbors. It's a code enforcement issue. It's not anything that this board can actually deal with directly. And I'm gonna get in trouble for not talking into the mic. Does anybody else have anything from the neighbor's point of view?
No, just echo what you just said, the parking and the calcs. And we'll get our guidance, I guess, from town staff
Yeah.
when they do their full code review on that.
could I, just a comment, when we reviewed the parking, for what we were proposing, we had access, the church publishes a weekly bulletin with their attendance for each of their 2 services. So we looked at all the attendance for 2024 through a few weeks ago. Their highest attendance is the Latin Mass, which I think is around 10 o'clock. And we averaged those, and we averaged them at about 250 people. And we also looked at their highest attended Mass was Christmas Eve and Easter. We looked at those 2, and
I mean, I agree with that approach. It's not how it's written in the code, though.
no, I
Right.
understand,
So-
but we have a pre-existing non-conforming site, so we're trying to
Right.
we're trying to put some thought to how it's laid out. But yeah, at a code would require 333 seats for the church, and actually, if that school were still in existence, it would require 330 seats for the school per code.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Children all have cars nowadays. I know it's required.
but
Unfortunately.
Well, and
Anybody
this
else?
is a K through 6, so.
Right. Are there any other, John?
Yeah, just one
Just speak
quick
up.
final item. At some point, we received correspondence from a neighbor that was going on about, plans that have been submitted are in line with the use variance that was granted by the zoning board, so I just want to make sure that whatever we approve is in line with that.
With the zoning board?
Yeah.
Did they get any variances? I wasn't aware of any. I know that they got a special use permit.
They got the they received the
use
use variance.
Yeah.
But that, we're gonna review that tomorrow. And I believe Kate's gonna be present for that as well, so I'll have the town engineer on that as well.
I would encourage you to get the site plan done as quickly as possible so the neighbors have a chance to review it. That way you're not running into a problem in 2 weeks that all of a sudden we're hearing about something that they have a question about, and then we have to postpone again.
Yeah, so we're primarily going to focus on the lighting plan, finalizing and bringing materials and updating the plan for the exterior building materials, the legend for the trees on the site plan, the length of fencing, removing the grade level air conditioning, and then I even added a note that there will be some level of railing and decking on the front of these additions on the south side, so we're going to put that on too. But it would be similar to what's already presented on the north elevation.
Maybe even just clarify with the breezeway, a note, saying the intent is to leave it, but
Yeah.
depending on the variance
Okay.
application, if,
I'll add a note to the existing plan.
yeah.
We did note to be demolished if required, but I'll add a note to the bottom of the plan
Yeah.
based on a code review.
Yeah.
Are they going to go to the ZBA for that setback? Michelle?
They would have to go to the ZBA
Okay.
to get the 0 setback, yes.
Have you made application for that?
Not yet.
Okay.
No.
And you're going to also talk to your team about the lighting on the top, on the deck?
Yes.
All right.
Deck and addition. We probably have to put on the addition too.
Only for the entry doors, but yeah.
If we have any under the covered area.
Anybody else have any other questions for today? I don't either. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
We'll see
Yep.
you in 2 weeks.
Sounds good.
I know that we have a lot of minutes to review, and I bet Michelle would appreciate it if you would take some time before the next meeting and actually send her the suggestions if you see a mistake on there so we can correct it
Yes, please.
and go forward. And we'll probably just, I'm assuming Bernie will be back in 2 weeks, so we would just do these at that meeting. Does anybody else have anything?
No?
Then I think we're done with tonight's workshop. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And thank you guys for being here.
Thank you for running the show.